Hi there and welcome to Wassell Woodworking. On today's episode, I'm going to build a whiteboard for my workshop. I don't know how many times I've had to go to the store and I forget things. So what I'm doing is I'm going to hang this up in my shop, and as I need items, so I need a package of screws or some glue, I can write it down, and then when I go to the before I go to the store, I can take a quick picture on my phone and then off to the store and I make sure I get everything. And if the family needs anything from the hardware store, they can put it on there as well and I'll pick that up. So I'm going to make this project with some old pine that was used to make a door in the house that I tore down years ago, and I saved the wood. And then I'm going to use some whiteboard, about a 1/4 inch thick, that I bought from Home Depot, and I'm going to use dry erase markers on that. And I'm going to use a CNC to etch some stuff and make a keyhole in the back for hanging up on the wall. So that's the project, so I hope you enjoy it. So I've taken the boards and I've already squared them up using the joiner and the planer, and now I have them on my table saw sled using the 90-degree cutter, and I'm just trimming them all to length, and they're all going to be identical, and the size it turns out is the size I'm going to go with. It's about 18 inches square. So to provide the groove for the whiteboard to sit in, I set it up on the table saw and I keep running it through and flipping it, making it a little bit wider until the board fits nice and snugly right down the center. So it takes a few iterations, but it comes out just perfect. Now it's time to take the whiteboard, and you can see I've been using this, and cutting it to the exact size that it needs to be. Since everything's square, all I have to do is run it through, turn it 90 degrees, and slide it right back on through without having to change anything on the table saw, and it'll come out nice and square and fit perfect. And now the moment of truth. I take all the pieces and the whiteboard and I put them together on the table saw just to make sure they all fit, because I need to do some more work, but it's a lot easier to find out right now that things aren't going to work out well, and I can address those issues. As you can see on these boards, there's a few places where dowel pins and such that were in the wood that I was using. So the wood's really not perfect, but for a shop project this really isn't going to matter. And so I just slide them on each side of the whiteboard and take the others and slide those on and find out that yes, it does fit like I thought it would. And from here on out, then I can go to the next part of the project, which is going to be to round over all the edges so there's nothing sharp on this. And here we are at the router table, and I have a 1/4 inch round over bit, and I'm running it through. I do a little at a time, but for our purposes I'm just going to show you running one piece through, and I run all 4 corners until everything's all nice and smooth. So I'm ready to glue this thing up. One of the things I thought about is how to reinforce the corners. In this particular case I didn't, just because it's going to be sitting on the wall. It's not going to be stressed a whole lot, so I'm just allowing the glue to hold the joints together, and since they're pretty tight joints, it all works out fine and shouldn't cause a problem. So I've sanded everything. Now I'm going to mask off the center so that I can put polyurethane around the edges to make it look a little bit nicer. It smells wonderful. This is an older type of pine, and the aroma from it is just amazing. It smells great. So anyway, I'm going to do that and I'll show you in just a minute. Okay, so I have masked all this off and now I'm ready to paint it. So I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to, what I'm going to do that with. If it's going to be shellac or polyurethane, which takes longer to dry but is stronger, or lacquer, which is really nice, or paint. I don't think I'm going to do paint because I don't want it to get marks to come off on things. So I think I may just go with shellac on it. It's quick and easy.
Begin laser ignition!
So now it's time to take it over to the CNC. Everything's been sanded because once I get out the laser and start etching, I don't want to sand because that the little depth that burns in could get sanded away. So in this case, across the top it's going to say Wassell Woodworking, and for the sake of time I'm going to now fast forward through this and go to the end of the shot to show finishing up. And on the bottom it says add it to the list. Just a little joke around the house about if you need something, you need to make sure it gets on a list if you want it to be purchased at the store. So now we're still at the CNC, and instead of using the laser, I'm going to use the router to hold a keyhole bit. And it's going to go in on this portion of it, which is the top, and make a little cut about 2 inches long. And this will allow a screw to be inserted in the wall, and then this will slide onto it. I've used these same technique on the back of a lot of signs I've done lately. It makes a great way to hold onto the wall. There you can see how it works. And so I'll add another one. They're each about 2 inches long, and then you just have to go to the wall, measure the distance, put 2 screws up. It's pretty forgiving, and it holds everything really well. So this is the end of the project. I managed to put the whiteboard here at the entrance to my basement. I have the project list and lists for supplies I need at the store. So this is a quick little project, and it's great. I even have a pin that snaps to the board itself to make it easy, so you can write your stuff up. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, put your comments below on what you didn't like about it. If you did like it and want to get some comments, give me that as well. And be sure to subscribe today. Hit the little bell next to it when you subscribe, and you'll be notified when I upload videos, which is once every 2 weeks. So I'll see you next time on Wassell Woodworking.